Welcome to another deep dive. Today, we're tackling something that, well, it really dominates our financial conversations, doesn't it? Something we're constantly told to optimize, protect, elevate. I'm talking about your credit score. For so many of us, it feels like the ultimate financial report card. You know, that badge of honor that says you're responsible, maybe even kind of wealthy. It's really ingrained in how we think about money. But here's the twist. What if that thinking, that whole chase for a higher score, is actually a trap? What if it's subtly pulling you away from, building real wealth? So in this deep dive, we're going to pull back the curtain on this number we all seem to chase. We'll look at what it really measures, what it definitely does not measure, and crucially, how focusing just on the score can kind of keep you stuck in debt maybe. Instead of building actual prosperity, our goal here, give you a shortcut, get you genuinely well informed. We've got some surprising facts, some practical steps you can actually use for your financial future. Starting now.
Yeah, it's fascinating, isn't it, how deeply embedded this whole idea is. The score as the ultimate financial yardstick. And how few of us really stop and ask, okay, what's the purpose of this score? And maybe more importantly, who does it really serve? So yeah, we're going to challenge some pretty common assumptions today and explore maybe a more complete picture of what building financial security actually means. Try and encourage you to think beyond that conventional wisdom about money.
Okay, let's unpack this then, because the first kind of surprising thing our sources bring up, it challenges something we almost take for granted. Lots of people think a high credit score means you're rich, or at least, financially solid. We assume it reflects income, savings, net worth. But the research is super clear on this. Your credit score, it doesn't show how much you make, doesn't show how much you've saved or what your assets are worth. It tells you basically nothing about your actual wealth, and that's a huge disconnect for a lot of folks.
That's exactly it. It's such a key point. If you look at the big picture, the credit score is actually a pretty narrow tool. It simply reflects how likely you are, statistically speaking, to pay back money you borrow. That's its job. That's all it does. It's a measure of borrower risk for lenders. It helps them predict if you're a reliable debtor. It's not about your personal wealth or your ability to build assets. Think of it like, I don't know, a lender's crystal ball for repayment habits. It was never meant to be your overall financial report card.
Wow, okay. That really reframes it. So if it's not about how much money we have, what does actually move the needle on this score? Our sources lay out 5 key things. Understanding these is like step 1 to demystifying it all. First one, probably the most obvious, is your payment history. This is a big chunk of your score. Paying your bills on time, consistently, every time. That's critical. Even just one late payment can cause problems.
Oh, absolutely. Payment history is fundamental because it speaks directly to that core purpose we just talked about, your reliability as a borrower. Lenders need to see that pattern of timely payments. It signals lower risk for them. Simple as that.
Okay, then number 2 is credit utilization, which is basically how much credit you're using versus how much you could use. Your total available credit. Like if your total limit across all your cards is, say, $10,000 and you're always carrying a balance of like $8,000, that's high utilization.
Right. And the why behind that is important. High utilization suggests you might be leaning pretty heavily on credit, maybe living close to the edge, financially speaking, or maybe overextended. Lenders see that as a higher risk. You might not be able to pay it back. Generally, you want to keep that utilization below 30%. Honestly, the lower the better. It shows you have credit available, but you don't need to use it all. That looks stable.
Got it. Factor 3, the length of your credit history. So how long you've had credit accounts open. Generally, older is better here.
Precisely. A long history, especially one with no bumps in the road, it gives lenders more data, a longer track record to look at. It shows you can handle credit responsibly over time. Consistency. And that's reassuring if they're thinking about lending you money.
Makes sense. Number 4 is about new credit. Specifically, how many new credit accounts you've applied for recently.
Yeah, applying for a bunch of new credit cards or loans in a short time, that can be a red flag. It might look like you're suddenly desperate for cash or maybe taking on too much debt too quickly. Each application usually triggers what's called a hard inquiry on your report, and those inquiries can knock your score down a bit, especially if you don't have a long credit history or you have a lot of recent ones.
Okay, and the last one, number 5, is your credit mix. This is about the different types of credit you have, like credit cards, which are revolving credit, and installment loans, like a car loan or a mortgage.
Right. Having a mix can sometimes help your score a little. It shows you can manage different kinds of debt responsibly. Versatility, I suppose. But, and this is crucial, don't go taking out loans you don't need just to get a better mix. That defeats the whole purpose. The main thing is still managing the debt you do have well. not just collecting different types of it.
Okay, this is really clearing things up.
Hmm.
But it brings up a big question. If the score isn't about wealth, if it's just about managing debt, why are we so, I don't know, conditioned to see it as the financial report card? Why do we care so much about this number if it isn't actually measuring our overall financial health? It really feels like we've been kind of steered wrong on this.
It does feel that way, doesn't it? And I think it's because the system itself, it subtly, but very powerfully, incentivizes borrowing. I mean, think about it. To even get a credit score, you need to use credit. To get a good score, you have to show you're a responsible borrower over time. It creates this cycle, right, we're told. Get a good score.
Mm-hmm.
And the way to do that is to borrow money and pay it back. Now, this definitely helps lenders. More borrowers, more interest, more fees. That's their business model. But for individuals like you, it can kind of keep you stuck focusing on managing debt instead of focusing on, say, building actual wealth.
Yeah, and the incentive is so strong because we hear it constantly, right? A good credit score gets you cheaper loans,
Yeah.
better interest rates. And yeah, okay, that can be true. You might get a slightly lower rate on a car loan or mortgage. But our source makes a really sharp point here. Those cheaper loans, often they just help you buy more stuff you might not truly need, or stuff that loses value, like a car. So you get a better deal on something that isn't actually moving you forward financially. It's a clever cycle, isn't it? The reward for being good at borrowing is just more opportunities to borrow.
That's precisely the core of the credit score trap. Exactly that. It smooths the path to consuming things now, using borrowed money, rather than guiding you towards, accumulating assets that grow over time. Financial independence.
A lot of people mistakenly think that showing you can handle debt is the same as building wealth, but they're really two different things. And focusing too much on the first one, the score, the debt management can actually hold you back from the second one. If you're not careful, you end up trading future wealth for stuff today. Okay, so if chasing that high score isn't the main road to wealth, then what is? What should we be focusing on instead? Our source gives some really clear, actionable steps here, steps that shift your mindset towards building your future, focusing on real financial independence, not just being a good borrower. It's about taking back control.
Exactly. And the core ideas are actually pretty simple, elegant even. They cut through all that noise about scores and borrowing. First, and this is the bedrock, make more money than you spend. Sounds basic, right? But it's fundamental. It's about creating that consistent positive cash flow, money coming in that exceeds money going out. This might mean finding ways to earn more, maybe negotiating a raise or a side hustle, and of course, being disciplined about your spending. Second principle, save and invest your money. Put it into things that can actually work for you. Grow over time. We're talking about assets, things like stocks, maybe bonds, real estate, or even building your own business. The goal is to get your money out of just sitting there and into things that generate returns. Build capital. That's where compounding happens. That's where real growth starts.
Right. And the third principle kind of builds right on that. Grow your income from your investments, not by borrowing more money. That's a really critical difference, isn't it? Instead of taking out another loan to expand or buy something, you're looking for your existing assets, your investments, to throw off income or increase in value. It's about building leverage through owning things, through equity, not through liabilities, not through debts that tie up your future income. You're shifting from being a consumer of credit to being an owner of assets.
Totally. So let's say you want that nice car or, that amazing vacation. Great goals. But our sources really hammer this home the best way. Pay cash, don't borrow for them. Using loans, especially for things that go down in value like cars, or things that are just experiences like vacations. That can literally stop you from getting rich. It holds you back because you're sending your future money to the bank as interest instead of putting that money to work for you, letting it grow and compound. It's definitely something to think about next time you see that shiny new car ad with the low APR.
It really is about owning your financial choices, isn't it? Rather than just being swayed by how easy it is to get credit, it's about building a foundation of actual financial strength. One that doesn't depend on whether you can get the next loan or the best rate. It's really promoting an investor's mindset over a consumer's. When you pay cash, you keep control. You avoid interest, and your money stays available for opportunities that actually build wealth. It's kind of liberating, actually, getting out of that cycle.
That makes total sense. But okay, what about credit cards? I mean, practically everyone has them. Many of us use them for points or rewards, trying to get something back from our everyday spending. Do they fit into a real wealth-building plan at all? Or are they just part of the trap? Feels like maybe a necessary evil for some things, or maybe a useful tool if used right.
They can be a useful tool, definitely. But the key advice, the really strong advice from our sources, use them with extreme care, extreme discipline. The absolute #1 non-negotiable rule is always pay your full balance every single month, no exceptions. That is the only way to actually benefit from a credit card without falling right back into the debt trap. The moment you carry a balance and pay interest, any benefit is gone instantly.
Oh, I know that feeling.
Yeah.
Chasing cash back or travel points, it sounds so good, right? Get 1% back here, 2% there. But yeah, if you carry any balance, even for a month, and you're paying, what, 18%, 20%, maybe more in interest on it, you are definitely 100% losing money. That 1% cash back looks tiny compared to the 20% you're paying out. The rewards are just wiped out, worse than wiped out, actually. You're in the red. And yeah, that's when you got to rethink the whole plan.
Exactly right. The card is just a tool, a piece of plastic. But if you don't have the discipline to pay it off in full every time, it stops being a tool and starts being a liability, fast. The goal should be to leverage it for convenience, maybe for carefully planned rewards you'd get anyway. Not to be leveraged by it through debt you can't shake, honestly, for some people. If you struggle with that discipline, the smartest move for building wealth might just be avoiding credit cards altogether, at least until that financial self-control is really solid. It's about making choices that really line up with your long-term goals, not just grabbing immediate perks.
So, wrapping this up, what does this all mean for you, listening right now? I think the big takeaway from today's deep dive is pretty clear and actually quite empowering. A high credit score, yeah, it's a metric for lenders, helps you get better loans. But, and this is the key, it is absolutely not the same thing as being wealthy. It doesn't show your net worth, your savings, your actual financial security. So try not to fall into that credit score trap. Don't believe it's the ultimate measure of how you're doing financially. Instead, shift your focus. Concentrate on what really matters for your financial future. Things like actively making more money, diligently saving it, and smartly investing and building your wealth. Separate from what any bank thinks you can borrow, it's really about reclaiming your financial power.
It really does challenge us, doesn't it, to redefine what financial success even looks like. It's about moving away from just being seen as a good borrower and moving towards becoming a strong investor in yourself, in your future. It's a basic shift, really, from a debt-focused view of money to an asset-focused one. So maybe instead of always asking, what's my credit score? The more powerful question, the more fruitful question for you to think about until our next deep dive is this. What am I actively doing today to increase my net worth independently of borrowing? So, something to